Hello YouTube, Shock16 back once again with another video. So I've just been watching a video by Lawnboyspost1975 and yes, he's gone and done it again, hasn't he? He's gone and posted a top 10 video asking questions. One of those videos where you watch it and you just think, that was so good, you just got to do a response to it. So here I am, I'm going to do my response to it. So this time round he's done 10 gaming first experiences. And by this I don't mean you've got to like name the first 10 games that you played or like basically it's a set of questions, 10 questions, and you've got to like just answer your first gaming experiences to do with the questions really. So yeah, here's my response. Without any further ado, let's crack on with questions 1 to 10. So here we go. So question number 1, the first game you ever played. Now this doesn't have to be on a system, it could be an arcade, it can be like a tabletop kind of system, or I don't know, like a Game & Watch or something like that. But yeah, basically the first game you ever played. So the first game I ever played was Pong. It was a Pong console. Basically it was just a wood, it was like a little system thing. It had like a wood grain effect on it. It had 2 dials on it. You hooked it up to your TV, a black and white TV at the time, and yeah, you basically just turned the controllers to move your buttons, and that's all it was. It was just that one game, Pong. It was absolutely shit. I mean, as Pong goes, I suppose it's brilliant, but yeah, it's just Pong, innit? But that was my first game I ever played, the first video game I ever played. It belonged to my cousin. Now my cousin is a lot older than me, so I don't know how old this system was at the time, and I can't even remember what Pong machine it was. But I'm gonna show you a picture, and I'm not even gonna say that the one in the picture is the actual one that I played on, but the one in the picture is basically similar, or it could be the actual one that I played on as a kid. So yeah, the first game I ever played on was Pong. Right, so question 2 is, what was the first game you ever bought? Now, this don't mean one that your parents brought you, or one that you got for your birthday, or one that you got for Christmas or something like that. It's something that you probably saved your pocket money up, the first game that you actually went out and bought. So, my first game that I bought was for the Atari ST, and it was a game called Sly Spy Secret Agent. And yes, I have just googled that because I had no clue what the game was called. Could not remember it. I knew it was called something Secret Agent, but I couldn't remember what the full title was called. So yeah, Sly Spy Secret Agent. Why did I buy this game? I think it's because I watched a James Bond movie the night before or something like that. So I went out with the intentions to buy a James Bond game, but this one drew me in. I can remember the cover art on the box and stuff like that just drew me in. It looked like a James Bond game. It was like based on James Bond, so I went out and bought it, and I can remember I got it home and I was really pleased with it because the level design on it was really quite creative, because on the first level you're skydiving out of a plane shooting people in the air, then you do like side scrolling, just walking, shooting enemies, and then the next one you'll be on a bike, then the next one under that you'll be like swimming underwater and stuff like that. So it was really like a varied game on level design and stuff like that. But I can remember it being hard as nails as well, so yeah, I think I got pissed off with it in the end, and I never completed it as a kid, so yeah, but it was a decent game. So yeah, the first game I ever bought was Sly Spy Secret Agent on the Atari ST. So question 3, what was the first game you ever traded? Now I don't mean which was the first game you traded like with a store, like I mean what was the first game you traded with a friend, like when you was a kid at school and I don't know, you maybe liked a game that he had, he liked a game you had, so you swapped them, you traded with each other. So the first game that I ever traded, I never used to like trading my games. Basically, as a kid I was always one of those that if I had the games I would just have them forever. Basically, most of my games from childhood only went as I got older, and then I sold them. So yeah, the first game that I traded when I was young was Cool Spot. I had Cool Spot on the Super Nintendo. I think it was on Super Nintendo. Yeah, Super Nintendo, Cool Spot. And there was a game that I really wanted off my friend, so we did a swapsies. And basically, I think I got the better deal. Because Cool Spot, yeah, it's a pretty good platformer, but it weren't brilliant. In my opinion, it wasn't that brilliant. So yeah, I weren't really bothered about getting rid of it. But the game that I got in like trade that he swapped with me, I absolutely love. You ever ask me what is my favourite football game of all time, and I will tell you this: International Superstar Soccer Deluxe on the Super Nintendo. Now this isn't the original one that he swapped with me, of course. This is one that I've brought back in as I've been older. But yeah, my favourite sports game of all time. My favourite football game of all time, should I say. Yeah, on any system, I think that is the ultimate game. You could keep your Pro Evos, you could keep your FIFAs. Just give me International Superstar Soccer Deluxe on the Super Nintendo, and I'm well away when it comes to football game. So yeah, that was the first game I ever traded. So question number 4 is, what was the first system you ever had? This doesn't have to be one that you went out and bought yourself. Basically, what was just the first system you ever had? So for me, the first system I ever had was an Atari 2600. Basically, I went to school one day, I came home, and there was just this thing that was set up to the TV, and it was just playing this game on it. My parents were playing this game on it, and I was like, what the hell was that? I had no clue what it was or whatsoever. I was just like, what is this thing? This is amazing. And basically, it was the Atari 2600. My dad had brought it off somebody that he worked with, and he'd brought it home, set it all up, ready for us when we came home to school, from school should I say, to play on when we got in. And it was amazing. And I can just remember the first game that I ever played on it was Centipede, and it just blew my mind. That, I mean, Centipede, you look at it now and you just think, I mean, you just look at it and you just think, what is this shit? But even though I do still enjoy playing it now, I've got it on Xbox Live, that's how much I enjoy playing it now still. But yeah, you look at it now and it's nothing amazing, is it? But at the time it just blew my mind. And then I think the other thing that blew my mind about it was the fact that you could actually change the games in it as well. Now that was something special back then. And yeah, we had Space Invaders, Mario Brothers, there was I think there was a game called Tank Attack or something like that. E.T. So yeah, yeah. Basically, the first system that I ever had was a Atari 2600. All thanks to my dad buying it off that person secretly at work while we was at school. Question number 5. What was the first gaming peripheral you ever brought? So this one, quite an easy one for me. As I remember it, it was just like it was yesterday. And for me, the first gaming peripheral I ever brought was the SNES Super Scope. And the reason why I brought it is because I always kind of liked light gun games. Like I can remember the NES Blaster with the Duck Hunt on the original NES, and was it the Mega Drive Menacer gun? Like that. But yeah, what drew me in about the Super Scope was just the sheer size and the way that you fired it. It was none of this pistol action stuff. It was on your shoulder, look at me, I've got a fucking cannon in my hands. It was like a bazooka, weren't it? Super Scope, I can remember it, and it was the one with the 6 scope pack. It had like Mole Patrol on it, and other ones where you had to shoot down planes, and a Tetris game where you had to shoot the shapes instead of turning them around. Great game. Yeah, I think that was the only ever games I ever played on it as well. I don't think I ever brought another game that was compatible with the Super Scope. But yeah, I thought the Super Scope was brilliant. So yeah, the first gaming peripheral I ever bought was the SNES Super Scope because it was awesome. Question number 6. What was the first gaming magazine you ever read? Now for me, it's a classic. I expect a lot of people to say it because it was quite a popular magazine around the time, and that was Me Machines. Just a brilliant magazine. I used to love reading that magazine. I had a big stack of Me Machines at my grandma's house. I've got none of them now because, like I said, at my grandma's house. Yeah, the reason behind that was because both my parents used to work really early in the morning, so they would take us to my grandma's before school, and then we would set off for my grandma's to go to school. And on the way to school, I would buy like a gaming magazine. So yeah, and it was always Me Machines. Love that magazine. I always used to love the little pictures that people used to send in of like Sonic decapitating Mario and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think you could get away with stuff like that in magazines nowadays. I don't know, but yeah, it was just a brilliant magazine. So I expect a lot of people to say Me Machines, as it was quite an iconic magazine here in the UK anyway. I don't know if you got it in other countries, but yeah, here in the UK, Me Machines was the magazine to have. I mean, what was the other one that was out at the time? Nintendo Power, I think it was, or the official Nintendo magazine, something like that. Basically, they was kind of like rivals at the time, but yeah, Me Machines was always the top magazine to have. So yeah, Me Machines was the first gaming magazine that I ever read. So question 7 is, what was the first ever console you bought yourself with your own money like? So for me, that was the PlayStation 1. Now I can remember saving up my money just to get this system because I wanted it that much. And basically my mum used to do something called Outwork. Now if you don't know what Outwork is, it's basically homework for adults. Sometimes companies take on a big heavy workload, and then you can volunteer to take home work and do it at home in your own time, and of course you get a little bit of more extra money on top of your wages for doing it in your own time. Like, so yeah, Outwork was the way forward. My mum used to do it, she used to bring it home, and me and my sister used to help her out, so she used to give us a bit of a cut off the money, like the extra money she made. So that, along with my pocket money I saved up, I bought myself my first console, which was the PlayStation 1. Bear in mind, I did buy it second hand off my mate who only had it a few months, so it was virtually brand new, but I didn't pay top whack for it. So yeah, and that console got absolutely raped. I literally played that to death, and I mean literally played it to death. It just died to death one day. It got that much hammer and abuse. It was a brilliant system, one of the best systems ever made, and I still think it's one of the best systems now in 2012. PlayStation, the first PlayStation, is still one of the best consoles ever made. So yeah, and that was the first one I ever bought myself. So question number 8, what was your first handheld system? For me, I think you already know what I'm going to say, as I've already mentioned it once before in my favourite Christmas memories video, and that is the original Game Boy. Got it on launch for Christmas one year and fell in love with it, and I'm still in love with that handheld system now. I still think it's the ultimate handheld system, even to this day. Yeah, don't matter. You can fuck your PSPs, your Vitas and your DS and your 3DSs and stuff like that. The original Game Boy is still the ultimate handheld for me. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Wouldn't have traded it for anything else in the world. Basically, I got that at Christmas, and I think I didn't speak to my family till February because my life was just Game Boy. And I think the only reason why I started talking to him again in February was to ask him for a new Game Boy game. So yeah, give me an original Game Boy, Tetris, Double Dragon and Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, stick me in a room and I'll be happy for months and months and months. Absolutely loved the Game Boy original. So yeah, that was my first handheld system. So question number 9 is, what was the first CD based system that you ever played on? For me, that was the Sega Saturn. And this came about because my best friend at the time, his older brother, used to have a part-time job at Morrison's, and he always used to have like a bit of money. I mean, we were still quite young at the time, so we was on pocket money still, and he used to have like, he used to earn his own money, so he always used to get all the new stuff like before everybody else basically. And he said he was getting this new Sega console, and it took CDs and all this stuff, and I thought he was on about the Mega CD, and I was like, yeah, it's the Mega CD, innit? That's what you're on about. And it's like, no, I'm getting a Saturn. I was like, I'd never even heard of a Saturn, so I was like, what's Saturn? Surely he just means a Mega CD. So we waited and just waited to like see what he brought home and what he got. And fair enough, it was the Sega Saturn. I'd still never even heard of it, but I was just like amazed. I was like, really? Sega's got a new system out. This is awesome. So we hooked it up, had a blast on it. We was playing Sega Rally, Virtual Fighter for about 2 or 3 weeks, non-stop, always around his ass. I was even having sleepovers at his ass, and we was playing it like when we should have been like early hours in the morning, like with the volume right down, and that secretly playing on it at like something daft like 4 in the morning and stuff like that on it all night. It was brilliant, and I think that is where my love for all things Sega Saturn now comes from that first time ever playing on his Sega Saturn. Brilliant, absolutely love the Sega. I actually think that when I die, I'm going to get buried with all my Sega Saturn stuff. Absolutely love the Sega Saturn, as you all know. So yeah, and that was my first CD based kind of console I ever played on. So yeah, the Sega Saturn. So the last question is, what was the first system you ever sold, and why did you sell it? So for me, the first system I ever sold was my Atari ST, and the reason why I sold it is because I needed a new mountain bike, really. Basically, excuse me, in Nottinghamshire there's a place called Woollerton Park, and basically they used to have like music festivals on and stuff there. So me and a friend went to this music festival at Woollerton Park. Actually, my claim to fame, Woollerton Park, the Woollerton Hall will be in the new Batman movie, Dark Knight Rises. The house that they have used in that film for Wayne Manor in the new Dark Knight Rises film, that is Woollerton Hall. So yeah, basically that's where I was, and on the way back me and my friend, we got mugged and they took our mountain bikes off us. So yeah, I lost my mountain bike, very upset about that at the time. And yeah, my uncle said, I'll tell you what, I've got a nice new shiny mountain bike, I'll give you a bit of cash plus my mountain bike if you give me your Atari ST. So I thought, yeah, bargain. So there you go, I sold it to my uncle really for a bit of cash and a new mountain bike. At the time I wasn't really bothered because I had my Super Nintendo at the time, so I'd already moved on from the Atari ST a bit anyway, so it didn't really bother me. I mean, now I look back and I think I would rather have the Atari ST than the mountain bike, but at the time I was really gutted about losing my mountain bike, so getting a new one plus a little bit of cash for it was awesome. So yeah, the first system I ever sold was my Atari ST. So there you go guys, that is 10, that's 10, not 10, that's 10 of my gaming first experiences. What are yours? If you want to know what the questions are, then I have put them in the description bar below, so you can look at all the questions, go through them, make yourself a video response. But if you do, make sure you respond it to Lawnboypost original video, which I'll also give you a link to down in the description bar below, along with his channel, because he and his channel is awesome. So yeah, check it out, check the video out. Thanks for watching this response, and I'll see you all soon. I've been Shock16, you've been great, bye bye for now.